It is a great honor and a privilege to introduce Leah Attali. Your maiden name was Goldberg?
Yes, Leah Goldberg.
Leah Goldberg. And Leah, you were born in France?
Yes.
When were you born?
12 October 39.
39, sure.
Just a few time after the war.
Before the war started?
The war started in September, I think, and I was born in October.
And Leah, in which town were you born?
In which town? Trouville, Normandy.
And can you tell us a little bit about your family?
Yes, I am the third child from a family. My parents came from Poland to France, and they were somebody's coming. What can I tell you? And they thought France is a good place to live in, but the German came to France, and you know.
And you have pictures of your parents?
Yes. This is my father, and this is my mother.
And then in this picture next to it?
This picture is a family of my mother that was in Litva. This is my mother, her sisters, and her mother.
And
my grandmother.
Where did they live in Lita?
Suwałki.
And your mother is on the right?
Yes. Leah Attali. סבא יסביר לך. Explique lui.
These are amazing photographs, Leah. And this photo you have...
and this is the only picture from all our family. It is my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, and I. It is the only picture we have from all the family.
This is the only picture. So you were the youngest?
Yes.
And what were your brother and your sister's names?
Jacqueline and Hebrew Shandel Yafa. My brother Marcel, Mendel, Menachem. My mother was Leah Attali, and my father Yitzhak David.
And how did you keep the photograph?
My mother kept it.
It's amazing.
It's the only one.
It's the only photo with all of the whole family.
Yes.
And your family, were they a religious family?
Yes, yes. Because my father, grandfather, grandpa were rabbis, but they had only girls afterward. My mother had 2 sisters. And my grandfather, I didn't know him, was killed by the Cossacks because he didn't want to work on Shabbat.
So they killed him?
Yes.
And Leah, the other pictures that you have next to?
Picture, yes. And my story is special because for me, the Shoah was not during the war. The Shoah, you know what is Shoah, was after the war. Why? Because the German took my mother and me in a concentration camp in France. The French people didn't kill Jews, but they prepared the work for the German. So they had concentration camps. So I was with my mother in a concentration camp. I was 2 years old.
Do you know the name of the camp?
Yes, La Motte Beuvron. And we were there. I don't remember, but what I know, that the head of the camp was a French. He didn't want to do this work, but he couldn't do. And he wanted to help the poor people because there was not conditions, there was not eat, water. So he asked from his friend, who was head of a hospital, to come. Maybe he can help him. So this man, Pierre Allard, and his wife came one day to the camp, and they went along, and they saw all the children and all, because it was a camp of children and a camp of all the children was dirty and crying, but a miracle, when they came next to a little girl, 2 years old, instead of cry, she smiled, and it was very. They said they didn't know what will happen to them, but they imagined it will not be good. So they asked to take me, but it was very difficult because the German was people very. But maybe I was in the end of the and they took me during all the war. They were people very rich and important, and I stayed there for 5 years.
Who took you? Who took you?
These people, Pierre and Blanchette Allard.
And they came into the camp?
They came to the camp to see.
And what happened to your brother and your sister?
They lived, but very difficult. They were in peasant and very difficult.
Did they survive the war?
Pardon?
Did they survive? Your brother and your sister?
They survived, yes.
And your mother?
Also, but very difficult. She was in concentration camp. The German did experience on her.
Experiments.
Teeth and
with the lungs.
Lung.
And which camp was your mother in?
Oh, a lot. Bonne-la-Rolande, Pithiviers, I even don't know. But I was in Blois. Blois is in the middle of France, where there are the castles, a lot of castles. Château de la Loire. I don't know if you know what it is.
I've heard of it. I've heard.
Yes.
It's a very beautiful part of France.
Very. And I was very. It was very good for me to be there. I forgot my mother, but they were people so right that they loved me. They had only one boy, because in these families only one. They said me, we love you, but when the war will finish, you will go back to your parent. It was very dangerous to tell me. My father was kept in the street because he and sent to Auschwitz.
Did he survive, your father?
No, I don't remember him. And so they told me this, and it was very dangerous, because I remember when I was a little girl, I was going with my Maman Blanchette, the Goya, and I saw the German going. It was very frightened to saw them go. And once I said to her, they took my mother and my father. It was very dangerous if the German would understand what I said. So after the war, they looked for my mother and my father. My father they didn't find, but my mother they found her. And they brought her, they told me, your real mother will come.
And they looked for your mother?
Yes.
It's very unusual, because most families didn't want to give the children back.
Yes, unusual. You know what is Chasidei Umot
They were
Haolam?
righteous amongst the nations.
Yes, they had.
And they had it, they got it at Yad Vashem.
Yes. No, in France, we had to go to France because they were...
But Yad Vashem awarded it.
Yes. They didn't live anymore, but their son... I will show you. Brother.
This was their son?
Yes. When I gave him the Chasidei Umot Haolam.
And this is a picture of your... Underneath is a picture of your mother?
Yes. My mother and her sister and my grandmother. My father, my mother and all the family.
And this is the only picture of your
family.
Of your family.
Of the whole family. And I don't remember my father.
It is amazing. This is such a... It's a miracle that you have the picture, that your mother kept the picture through the war.
I don't know how she...
How did she keep it through the war?
I don't know.
And here, getting Chasidei Umot Haolam.
Claude was his name.
But what's amazing, Leah, is that they went and they looked for your mother.
They looked to find her. But most amazing is afterward. So they brought her to him, to me, and they said me, your real mother will come. So I was there. So real mother is good, maybe it is good. If they are not my real parents and they are so good, so my real mother can be all better. But it was terrible.
But Leah, I just want to ask you, before you mention, what was your first recollections? What do you remember, the first memories that you have?
From when?
As a baby or as a child?
As a child, at their house.
You remember?
Yes, of course. It was I was happy.
They were loving, they were very...
Yes, of course. Papa Pierre, Maman Blanchette, they were spoiling me.
And they never wanted to make you become a Christian?
No, never.
That is amazing.
Tzadikim.
It's real righteous. And do you remember meeting your mother?
Yes, it was terrible. Because I thought my mother, my real mother, it is certainly something very beautiful. But she was 5 years in the concentration camp without terrible. So I didn't want to go to her. I tell no, it is not my mother, it cannot be my mother. And these people wanted to do a mitzvah. So they told me, no, it is your mother. So Maman Blanchette gave her a nice gown. And Papa Pierre told me, you have to go to her. What we can do, you will go to her, and when will be a vacation, you will come back to us. So I accept, but my mother didn't accept, because she said, I have 20 Rabbanim, and when I was in the camp, concentration camp, I didn't eat anything. So my daughter eat what she ate, but no, she has to eat kosher. They said, what does it mean, kosher? They didn't know. She explained them. So they said, no problem. She will not eat meat, she only will cheese. But my mother said there is another problem. The plate, there was not, no problem. They bought plates and you will not, it is impossible to understand. When we married with my husband, we went to see them. So she took from the kosher.
And you were only, when you saw your mother, you were about six years old?
7, yes.
7?
Yes.
And do you remember that encounter with your mother?
Of course. It was terrible.
Was your mother crying when she saw you?
Of course. I was crying. They were crying. She was crying. We all cried.
And where did your mother take you? Did she have
Paris, it was terrible. At their home, it was very comfortable, and she had nothing. But Leah Attali, she was very courageous.
And when did you see your brother and your sister?
Yes, they came afterward, yes.
But were they already with your mother, your brother and your sister?
No, my brother was in a Jewish school, and he was living there. And my sister in 49 came to Israel.
But what do you remember when you met your brother and your sister? Was that...
Okay.
Did you feel a bond, a kesher, a very close...
Yes, I understood that it was my brother and my sister, yes.
And did you connect very closely?
Yes. You see them on the frigidaire. My brother and my sister, Zichronam Libracha.
They passed away?
Yes. My brother 2 years ago and my sister 5 years ago.
And did you remain close with them all the years?
Pardon?
Were you close with your brother and your sister all the years?
Yes, of course. My sister was in Israel, so when we came, and my brother in France.
And they were from?
Yes. My brother, no.
But your sister was from?
Yes.
And it must have been very difficult for your mother. It must have been extremely difficult.
Of course. I always say that my mother was the walking Shoah.
So when you stayed with your mother, was it only you and your mother in the beginning?
Yes, it was very difficult.
And how did she make her living? How did she...
She was very courageous. She was working. Before the war, they were commerciant, how do you say? Soharim. They were...
like merchants?
Merchants, yes. And they were, we had a villa in Trouville back. And after the war, she came back to the people where she was taking, and she, in the market, she was, it was difficult. For me, it was also difficult, because I was accustomed to live.
And did you go back to that family?
Of course, at my, I will show you. No, this is when they took me out of the camp. You see what I have, how I was looking before I didn't eat. So I have a...
They saved you?
Yes.
And this is in 1942?
Yes.
And the lady who's holding you,
yes.
Is this the...
Blanchette, Maman Blanchette. And look how I was looking afterward at their home when they took me. Like a princess.
Leah Yeah, this is incredible.
But you see how I was after the camp? Concentration camp? Said,
You could have
Yeah.
died of starvation.
of course. And this is my brother, Claude. And there is the servant.
And with the dog as well?
Yes, yes, because they were going to hunting. They had hunting.
And Leah, can I ask, when you were with your mother,
Ine. This is my mother. Yes,
and this is in 1946,
yes,
it must have been so difficult for her.
for her, yes. Of
But
course.
you couldn't, you were too small
I
to
couldn't
understand.
no.
And in this picture, it's your...
My mother, my brother, my sister, and I.
And Leah, when did you find out about your father? That your father was killed?
When I came back to my mother, she was looking for him. She thought he will come back. She thought he was in Siberia or something. But afterward, we heard he was in Auschwitz. Look at this. This is my Allard, Pierre, Blanchette, their daughter-in-law, and my mother and I. And here I am with my mother in the market when she was...
And what was she selling in the market? And did you have enough food when you were staying with your mother?
Yes, I never... she was a good Yiddish mama.
And let me ask, what happened to grandparents and...
I don't know. I didn't know.
And other members of the family?
No member. Yes, from my mother, yes. She had two sisters, and I knew them after the war.
And they survived?
Yes. This with my mother, and this is with him, with my Papa Pierre. But he couldn't come to our wedding because he was in service in the hospital. So I came to him with this to be photographed with him. You understood what I told you?
You must have loved him dearly.
Well, of course.
And Leah, can I just ask, when you were with your mother,
yes,
did she have nightmares at night?
Yes. It was very difficult. She was crying and shouting. It was very difficult for me. So what I told you, for me, the Shoah began after the war. It was very difficult for me to study very difficult. And I didn't understand how hard it was for her.
And your brother and your sister, were they helpful to you? Did they...
Yes, but my brother, my sister came to Israel and she married.
And did you go, after the war in Paris, did you go to a Jewish school?
Yes, my mother wanted me to go to a Jewish school, Yavne.
And were most of the children also survivors?
Yes, a lot of them.
And how long did you stay in Paris?
I married in Paris until 60. I married in 1960. We married.
But you finished school in...
Yes, of course, university.
What did you study?
Oriental language, Hebrew.
In which in Paris?
Sorbonne, like Sorbonne, yes. And my husband, sciences politiques, political science.
Also in
Yes.
were you in the same university?
No, but we were in the same youth movement, near Kiva, and there we met.
And can I just ask, growing up, were most of your friends also survivors?
Yes.
And did you ever speak with your friends about what happened to you?
No, nobody spoke about it.
Nobody spoke?
No.
Did you speak to your brother and your sister about what happened to them?
No.
You never spoke?
No. Everybody was his everyday.
Did your mother ask you questions about how it was, or did she speak a little bit?
For my mother, it was very difficult, I suppose. I don't know, but I suppose. Because she was thankful that they saved me. But also she understood that they took love from me.
And did your mother ever remarry?
No.
She never.
She never wanted to marry.
So I just want to ask that because it's very, it's so interesting. With your brother and your sister, when did you first speak about what happened to them? Or did you ever speak about?
No, not so.
And did they ever ask you?
My brother was 5 years older than me, and my sister 9 years.
So there was a big difference.
A big difference. So we didn't have the same occupation.
And your mother, all the years, what she went through, she remained religious.
Yes, of course.
And how was it in Paris after the war?
We were living in the what is called the Pletzel. You know what it is? The Jewish quarter. So.
And do you remember the shul that you went to?
Of course.
What shul was it?
It was called Rue Pavée, the road was called Rubinstein. But when my sister married, she married in Israel, I was 12. So my mother, my brother and I, we came to Israel for the Hatuna. And there I began to go to Bnei Akiva. And there I began to stop going to the family for holidays because I was going to Bnei Akiva. But I was in touch with them.
And they were always welcoming whenever you went.
Yes.
They were very connected and very loving.
Of course.
And how was it when you came to Israel? Did you feel a strong kesher,
They said it is your idol.
That's true.
They understood.
And did... Leah, this is a picture of you and your husband in 1959.
Yes, we married in 60.
And was your mother very supportive when you met your husband?
Yes, no, she, okay. Regarde. Ah non. I think I have something with called sciatica. You know what it is? Mm-hmm. It's very painful. Just a minute. So this is for you.
Thank you so much.
Just a minute.
So here's a picture on your when you got married?
Yes.
In 1960?
Yes. 11 of September. September 11.
And which shul were you married in?
Vokna, it is the school for rabbis. École rabbinique, it is called. It is a school of rabbis.
And did you ever meet Rabbi Guggenheim?
Yes, of course. His wife was, where I was studying in École Yavne, she was, yes.
So this is
Pirkei Avot, she said.
Such a beautiful picture. Sure. And Leah, when you got married, did you speak a lot to your husband about the Shoah? And
yes, of course. And it said that for him it was an ideal to marry somebody from the Shoah.
And can I just ask, with your children, did you speak to them also about the Shoah?
Of course, yes. We always go and give, yes.
So Leah, if I could ask you a very big favor, what message do you give to your children and grandchildren and to the future generations?
That what the German wanted to do to us, the Arab wanted to do the same, but we don't want them to do this. We want to live in our land
and this is a picture you have of your son who,
yes.
And unfortunately he was killed
Yes.
here in the old city.
Yes.
What was his name?
El Hanan. All the name of our children have the name of El. We have Avital, no, Nachaliel, Avital, Ab, como El Hanan, Elisheva, Moria, Amichai. Our little younger son is a journalist, Amichai Attali, in Yediot Aharonot.
So you must be so proud of your family and
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. So Leah, I am so grateful to you. I just want to thank you. Wow. Yeah, for me, I must just tell you, it's been such a kavod, an honor and a privilege to be with you. And you should just have mazal and bracha and may Vesrim in good health and all of Hashem's blessings. And really, I'm so grateful to you. This has been so special. It's
so telling to Leah Abramovich, she was she was a shit.
She's very special as well. But your story and this, your children made this for you. This is beautiful.
Yes, 50 years.
It's magnificent. But Leah, you should just be well and really continue. You are an amazing person. You're really smiling and you went through so much and you're so positive.
We always say that the smile saved me.
So because you smiled in the camp, they decided.
Because some days afterwards, they came and take all the people to Auschwitz. My smile saved me. My mother was also saved because she was ill and she was not in the camp. She was in a hospital, so she was not taken to Auschwitz.
So if they wouldn't have come when you were smiling to take you, you would have been deported.
Yes, of course.
So we should always smile and...
we always said when we marry my husband, we said we want 6 children, 6 million. We said we want 6 children. We had 6 children, but one was killed. So I said I will not have a third. I wanted that every child will have 6 children. So I said, one is killed. But my daughter, Avital, said me, don't be worried. We will have a lot of children. She had 10, another daughter has 8, and the other has 6, so we have 36 grandchildren, Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. It's, your wishes,
Wow.
Baruch Hashem, became a reality.
Yes.
And this is the greatest comfort and the greatest revenge.
Yes, of course. Really, revenge.
Thank you so much, Leah. You should just have mazel and bracha
Baruch Hashem.
and
Bezrat
keep on
Hashem.
smiling. You have the
Yes.
most beautiful smile.
Baruch Hashem. Bezrat Hashem.
So Leah, this is the 36th
Yes.
grandchild,
Yes.
and it's Am Yisrael Chai, and
Okay.
Chai is
Twice 36.
36.
Chai.
Chai and Chai.
Ken.
Double Chai.
Yes.
18 and 18.
Yes. And Amichai, our son, wrote about it in the Yediot Acharonot.
Yisrael Chai Pamayim.
Okay.
Am Yisrael Chai
Pamayim.
twice. Toda rabba im kol halev. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, Leah.